everyone, welcome to our 8th episode of our podcast. Today we're going to be talking about health.
And wellness, all the components of it, and riff off of each other on what we think is most important.
Yeah. So can you tell me about what are your major tenets of health? And when it comes to like mental health, physical health, sleep, nutrition, etc.
Yeah, I feel like the way that I like to prioritize it, or what I think impacts me the most, are probably first is sleep, then is nutrition, then is mental health. Obviously they all tie together, but I think those are the three things that impact me the most day to day, and I would prioritize that a little bit over like physical like body composition and things like that.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
I think I care a lot about mental health.
Okay.
So whether that means like, am I happy? What are the things that are impacting my mood day to day? What are like the deeper like challenges that I'm dealing with that impact how I sleep, how I am physically, or how I am throughout the day. And so I find mental health is very important to me. And I think secondly, I find physical health is also very important. And physical health to me involves like not only just the nutrition, but also like how active I am day to day and the amount of sleep that I'm getting. So I bucket like those three aspects into physical health.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So what are some exercises that you go for and avoid?
Yeah. So I haven't figured out the right mix, but I feel like running is generally good, like no matter what, like it'll just help. And then the other thing is like probably weightlifting and like plyometric exercises are really good for tennis, but I don't know if it's that beneficial to get like a more lean look. I feel like there are other exercises that are better for that, like Pilates or like yoga, that help with like leaning things out. And so it's like constantly thinking about, is this for functional reasons or is this for like appearance reasons?
Yeah.
For me, I don't know. Do you think about that?
I do. So my thoughts on this have evolved. I also went through a period of like, I don't want to lift weights because I don't want to become look like a guy with like a bunch of muscles.
Yeah.
I think that there is a general stigma against girls doing weightlifting because of that.
A little bit, yeah.
But I will say that I don't think it's possible for women to become as bulky as men do.
For sure.
And just physically, it's not possible. I do think that actually strength training does help lean women out, in general, like individuals out, but it has to be combined with nutrition.
Right.
So I think like if there's the right amount of strength training and there's like progressive overload over time, that and a combination of eating at a calorie deficit, making sure that you're putting the right foods in your body, that actually ultimately contributes to lean muscle and an appearance of a lean frame. So my viewpoint on this is that I'm actually trying to incorporate more strength training into my routine because I want to achieve like the lean muscle, but also making sure that I am eating enough protein in a day to be able to achieve that. So I think that's probably like my approach to fitness recently, and of course incorporating cardio. I also play tennis a lot. So
day to day, what are the most important things for you when you're thinking about what you eat, or do you think at all, or do you let it be more natural? Or like if you're trying to lean out, what are the first things that you do versus like the second tier things that are less helpful? Curious what you do. Yeah.
So when other people are cooking for me, you have no idea like what's going in that food.
Yeah.
And when you do cook and you start seeing recipes, you're like, oh man, that's a lot of butter. Yeah. So the benefit of cooking at home is you know exactly what's going in, right? And so for me nowadays that I've been starting to cook more at home, I try to eat very cleanly.
Nice.
So my breakfast consists of like Greek yogurt and some fruit or granola. And then during lunch, I try to eat like eggs or like some kind of vegetable, sweet potatoes. And then at dinner, it can vary depending on if I'm going out to eat or not. But usually, like I've been trying to eat more like salmon, like high protein meats, like salmon or like shrimp, chicken. I would say that it definitely doesn't taste as good as going out to eat, but that's like a trade-off I have to make.
Yeah.
I also don't prioritize food as much in my life. Like I don't prioritize good food as much in my life.
Yeah.
Like I know some people, like when they travel, for example, they care a lot about food. Like that's not something that I care about as much.
Okay.
So I'm okay with that. But I would say I'm not an expert yet. I'm still always trying to like adjust this over time.
If I am trying to be more focused about my nutrition, then the first thing that I do is just like trying to be good about getting all 3 macronutrients on my plate at each meal. So for me, that means like a protein, a fat, and then a little bit of carbs, and ideally like also a vegetable on my plate. Yeah, if I do that, I generally feel pretty full.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Can you tell me about this nutrition and like fitness journey? Like when did this change in mindset kind of happen? And yeah, how did that start?
Yeah, I would actually say I've had like a pretty tough up and down like journey with fitness and my weight and nutrition and all of that. I don't know if you experienced similar, but basically like I feel like basically in high school I sort of gained weight all of a sudden, and I couldn't figure out why. And I like during high school I really was trying to lose weight, but just to no effect. Like I would just go to the gym every single day. I would try to like count my calories, and it just wasn't working for some reason. And then it got even worse during college. Like I gained even more weight, and I just like was still trying to do the same thing, but it just wasn't working. And then I don't know what it was, but after moving to New York, I definitely lost weight. I don't know if it was like a combination of the stress from work as well as like just walking around more, and then like having less time to like think about food or less time to eat because I was working a lot during those first 3 to 4 years. But I lost weight when I moved to New York. Then I lost weight again when I moved to Boston. So in terms of that, like I stopped counting calories once I was just losing weight I didn't even know what the reason was, but I stopped like being obsessed about it at that point, and I was just like being more natural about it. And now I think I'm at a place where I don't have that obsession anymore, and I feel like I have a good balance of physical fitness and like also a good sense of nutrition, and I kind of know what I can dial in on if I need to like change things a little bit, but generally like feel pretty satisfied with the holistic picture.
Yeah, so it kind of seems like it was a natural progression for you. It wasn't like there was a switch where you were like, I'm going to do XYZ things. Thankfully, I haven't had like huge fluctuations in my weight. I would say maybe in my teen years, early 20s, I probably weighed less because I didn't have as much muscle mass. I wasn't as active in sports. And I think probably in my 20s, I also focused a lot more on cardio. So when I went to the gym, I only did running.
Wow.
Yeah, I didn't really do weight training because I had a really similar mentality. Like, I don't want to get like super bulky.
Okay.
And then I think over time, I think especially after moving to New York, I saw the value of doing strength training, especially I think from a personal standpoint, like there's a history of like osteoporosis in my family, and strength training is actually a really beneficial way to just grow denser, stronger bones.
Yeah.
And I just want to get ahead of that before I get older. And so there's that aspect too. And I think something I really value is just being like independent and capable, and like not relying on like, for example, my boyfriend or my future husband to do everything for me when it comes to strength. So I think implementing more strength training allows me to be able to do that. And so I would say nowadays, like I think my weight has increased over time because of these iterations that I've made. But it's not to a point where it's like in a healthy way. How about you? Do you have any personal stories that have influenced how you view health and wellness now?
Yeah, I think for me, so I think this is like a genetic thing, but I have had prediabetes, and like very in the scale of having prediabetes, I'm like very lower on the lower end of having it. I think this is also like pretty common around Asian Americans. But being diagnosed with that during college and not seeing like the blood marker change too much until now makes me just very cautious and like I think a lot about insulin resistance and like what I should be doing or shouldn't be doing to like improve that. So things that I've been trying to implement are like eating brown rice instead of white rice. Another thing is like the making sure that the macronutrients are balanced so that there's not like an insulin spike, which I think I'm not the most educated on it, but I think it helps prevent a huge insulin spike when things are more balanced. Working out, of course, like playing tennis or like doing cardio several times a week, that's also important. And just getting the right amount of sleep. I think when I think about trying to prevent this from like getting further, I just feel like I really need to be on top of these components of my life.
Yeah. Especially as we're getting older, like these health issues start to kind of creep up a lot more, which is so unfortunate. Yeah.
And I think like this is something that is totally preventable hopefully preventable if I just stay really on top of it. So I think about that a lot and just trying to be good about all these components. I guess like one question that's top of mind now that we've talked about this is, have you ever gotten injured? And like if you have, then was there a recovery process, and like how do you stay injury free basically?
You know, thankfully, knock on wood, I have not had major injuries from tennis or from exercising.
What about minor ones?
I have like gotten like pulled muscles before, but it's not super crazy, like just a few days to recover. I think to help continue preventing these is like, I think part of it's kind of like a chicken and egg. Like you have to stay strong, and the strength that you develop over time helps prevent injuries. I also don't do anything too crazy. Like I try to stay within the limits that I know that I can do. Like for example, if I'm doing like 3 days in a row of tennis and I start feeling it in my body, I'm like, okay, I need to take a rest day for a few days. And that usually helps resolve like any kind of soreness or pain that I'm feeling. And so I think it's just being very cautious of the extent that I'm doing. And I think one thing to add here is genetics also has a big part in this too.
It does.
And so like for example, when we talk about osteoporosis and when we talk about prediabetes, like these are aspects of genetics that just are unfortunate and we have to navigate and deal with. And so that also comes to like physical health, like your ability to like sometimes like the ability to stay strong even though you have all the right components may not all fall into place just due to genetic weaknesses that may exist. So
I totally agree with you. Well, thank you everyone for tuning in to our 8th episode talking about health and wellness. We would love to hear your perspectives on it, so please like, comment, let us know your thoughts, and looking forward to the next one. Thank you.